You've probably heard of brave explorers who tried to conquer the polar regions in the past, using sled dogs, ships, balloons, or even just their own 2 feet. But have you ever heard of someone trying to do it with a massive station the size of a horizontal apartment building? Well, that's exactly the video you're watching right now. Welcome. In the late 1930s, the entire world was practically racing to explore Antarctica. Everyone wanted to be the first to uncover the secrets of this icy continent. And of course, the United States didn't want to be left behind. They were searching for a project that would show off their scientific and symbolic power to the entire world. That's when one of the most ambitious and bizarre machines ever designed came into the picture. The genius behind the idea was polar researcher and engineer Thomas Poulter. Poulter had served on Admiral Richard Byrd's 1934 Antarctic expedition. The deadly storms, deep crevasses, and harsh conditions he witnessed taught him one very clear lesson. There was no reliable vehicle suited for Antarctica. In fact, he once pulled off the impossible, rescuing Admiral Byrd during a blizzard using a tracked tractor. Those experiences sparked a wild idea in his mind. When he returned home, Poulter had one goal: to design a massive snow vehicle that could cross Antarctica from end to end. Sleds and tractors at the time couldn't handle deep cracks, soft snow, or unstable ice. Many expeditions had to turn back. Poulter came up with a solution that was practically Titanic-level bold. He wanted to build a giant, high-riding vehicle with a long front end, so that even if the front wheels dropped into a crevasse, the nose would reach the other side, allowing the machine to pull itself up and keep going. A brilliant idea, but he needed someone to fund it. In 1939, Poulter presented his concept to high-ranking officials and senators in Washington. The project was estimated to cost $150,000, which would be roughly $3.5 million today. Securing that kind of budget was a miracle in itself. The government wanted prestige. Poulter wanted exploration. Eventually, Congress approved the project, and so began the construction of this absurd-looking, unbelievably large land ship. Its name would be the Snow Cruiser. This wasn't just a machine. It was designed to be a mobile polar research station. Its body was about 55 feet long, 20 feet wide, and its height could be adjusted between 12 and 16 feet, depending on the wheel setting. It weighed nearly 34 tons. Basically, imagine a horizontal, portable apartment building. With this massive size, it could bridge crevasses up to 50 feet across, simply by using its own body. But the most striking part? The tires. Goodyear sponsored the project and produced 4 gigantic tires, 10 feet tall and 33 inches wide, specifically for Antarctic conditions. The strange part? They were completely smooth. No treads, no patterns. The idea was to glide over soft snow without sinking. Each wheel had its own 75 horsepower motor. Even today, that would be impressive, let alone in the 1930s. Inside, the Snow Cruiser was a full scientific base, a 3-person control room, a machine-filled technical section, a galley that could double as a darkroom, a bathroom, sleeping quarters, a repair workshop, welding equipment, and beneath the floor, a massive fuel tank holding 2,500 gallons of diesel. That translated to about 5,000 miles of range. Mounted on top was a small reconnaissance plane, the cruiser's eyes. Even the plane's fuel was stored in tanks on the Snow Cruiser's roof. In short, this was not a vehicle. This was Antarctica on wheels. The American press went wild. The Snow Cruiser became a legend long before it ever reached Antarctica. The project was approved on August 8, 1939, and the departure date was set for November 15th. That meant Poulter and his team had only 11 weeks to build this monster. Given the technology of the time, it was nearly impossible. But nearly impossible is sometimes the strongest motivation. Engineers, workers, mechanics, they practically lived in the workshop, and somehow in just 6 weeks, the Snow Cruiser was finished. By October, it rolled out of the factory. Its demonstration tour immediately caused a sensation. Crowds gathered as the machine passed through cities like it was part of a parade. But because of its size, it blocked entire roads and caused chaos in traffic. Records say it once caused a 70,000-car traffic jam in Boston. The journey wasn't without issues. The steering system failed. It couldn't cross certain bridges. It got stuck on inclines. But the team always managed to repair it and continue. Eventually, the 1,700-kilometer, about 1,050 miles, trek from Chicago to the port of Boston was completed. On November 15, 1939, the ship North Star loaded the snow cruiser and set off for Antarctica. After a 45 to 50-day voyage, they reached the Bay of Whales in January 1940. Unloading it was an adventure of its own. Wooden ramps were built from the ship to the ice, but the moment they started lowering the snow cruiser, one of the ramps collapsed and a rear wheel sank. Everyone froze for a moment, but Poulter stepped on the throttle and managed to climb out using the vehicle's own power. The snow cruiser was now officially on Antarctic ice. The crew cheered for about 10 seconds. As soon as they tried to drive onto flat ground, the giant tires began sinking into the snow. The 34-ton weight compressed the soft surface, and the smooth tires couldn't grip anything. Yes, the treadless tires had no traction. Who could have guessed? There was no time to design and ship new tires. The season was changing, so they tried a workaround. They mounted spare tires side by side to increase surface area. They added chains to the rear wheels. The engines fired again, and this time the snow cruiser actually moved. But here's the weird part. It moved better in reverse. Because of its weight distribution, the vehicle was far more stable backing up. The crew basically said, well, then we'll drive backward. Under normal conditions, no one would ever consider that. But in Antarctica, it was the only logical option. The snow cruiser managed to travel roughly 92 miles, entirely in reverse. But during that trip, more design flaws became obvious. That long front end, great for spanning gaps, became a nightmare on even small slopes. It constantly got hung up and blocked forward motion. In short, it was fantastic as a stationary shelter, but terrible as a vehicle. Rushed construction and almost zero testing meant the snow cruiser never really had a chance. Eventually, Poulter had to make the toughest call. The mission to cross the continent was canceled. On January 24, 1940, the crew was ordered to return. Poulter left Antarctica, but had no choice but to leave the snow cruiser behind. The abandoned machine remained upright and was used as a shelter for a while. By 1940, even the last members of the expedition returned home. With World War II on the horizon, no one had time to think about a giant snow vehicle anymore. Expeditions in 1946 and 1958 found the snow cruiser buried under deep snow. Recovering it was impossible. It's believed that around the 1960s, the ice shelf beneath it broke off and drifted into the ocean, taking the 34-ton beast with it into the deep, dark water. $3.5 million, months of work, soaring national prestige, all of it lost because of a few design flaws. Maybe one day, if you ever dive near Antarctica, who knows? Maybe you'll see this giant machine resting in the cold darkness. That's it for this week's story. I hope you enjoyed the video. I handle every aspect of this channel on my own, so your likes and comments truly mean a lot to me. I'm Narravia. See you in the next video. Take care of yourselves.